Welcome to the Truth Couch. I am your host, Andrea Nicole, and I am here with a dear friend of mine. You know, today she's all professional, okay? But she really is a dear friend of mine. Talk about a woman filled with wisdom and understanding, and like she's like my mentor and my coach on the side. She doesn't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said that because now she might charge me. But she is here. She is the author of Moving in Place and the CEO of Project Move. Welcome, Jevata Crawford Bosket. Hi, Miss Jevata.
Hey, girl. How are you doing?
Oh, wow. Listen, I'm so excited about this conversation, right? Because we tried having a conversation before. We had a conversation. It was so deep. And halfway through the conversation, like I said, technology is undefeated. Something happened. But I felt like it was purposeful, right? Because I feel like what we dived into, you have now built this whole thing, like I call it a ministry. You know, you might call it a purpose and a mission. But there's a whole thing that's developed with this thing now that I'm like, yeah, I think we're at the right time right now to have this deep conversation. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this conversation. You ready?
You know, so she's so funny. Okay, technology undefeated. Yeah, that's typically my story. However, one of the things is that having that conversation, it started to anchor me.
Yeah. Ooh.
And so one of the things that you have to realize, and that I am slowly realizing, is that every piece of that puzzle is required in order for you to put that whole puzzle together.
Yes.
And so it's you know, like I did write a book. Did she tell you I wrote a book?
She wrote a book.
So I do like to say that, and so I am in my author zone right now.
Yeah.
But I'm like super excited. But at that moment, when we first talked, the book was just a thought. It was not, and yes, you can write a book in a year. You can go from not having thoughts and having it published. However, I'm gonna say that it's not typical, but that's because a lot of this I've been collecting data forever. Yeah. And so so I think that conversation was an anchoring conversation. Yeah. So it gave me some insight, it made me think, it made me process. Yeah. And you're one of the first podcasts that I'd ever been on to actually have a conversation and talk about moving and really feel like I got something to say. Yeah. So that was exciting. So thank you for that opportunity, but thank you for letting me come back.
Of course. Come on. When you said you were writing the book, I said, okay, this is gonna be good. Because not only that, because you know me, I'm all Christ and all the things.
She said I'm Christ and all the things.
Like,
okay.
What is God doing here type of girl? But I always saw what you did as a ministry. And I was like, okay, what is God gonna do in this book? Like, what is gonna come out of her in this book? Because every time we talk, like I said, you're like a well of so much knowledge. And I think you see yourself as like, oh, I'm Miss Project Move. But we're going to talk a little bit deeper about that because it's deeper than rap, like I normally say. It's deeper than what you think it is. It's not just about these boxes and the moving. Like, this book did a little something different to me, I will say. But we'll talk about it a little
bit. I'm going
to
say it did a little something different to me as well. And so I am excited to talk about it because I've been doing one thing that I would tell people, that when you write a book, if you're thinking about putting a book on campus, like you want to get it out there, the key is to write the book and then let the book write you afterwards. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is take what you have and then see how you can apply it. Yeah. See does it work. So I was like always testing my concepts to say, if I am with a client, does this actually work? If it didn't work, it couldn't make it to the book. And so then I would say, well, it worked on them, but maybe they ain't as good as me. So then I'd have to test it on myself. Yeah. And then once I tested it on myself, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, moving, this has got a little bit more meat to it. And then I'd start throwing out pieces to different people. So when I say, can you do it in a year? You can if you're willing to do the work.
Yeah.
But if you are, and again, I wrote a nonfiction book, which is a whole different ball of wax. Yeah. Because I also think that in my dreams I was going to be a romance novelist. Just let you know, I love the romance novels.
I love the pivot.
I mean, it's a whole different thing, but just understanding that, you know, like who you are, testing your concepts, do they work? Are they accurate? Like, I didn't want to write something that didn't work for me, because if it didn't work for me, how could I ask it to work for you? And then I would test it on you, and you didn't know you were being tested on it because you kind of knew. And so she kind of knew, but she didn't really know. She knew, but didn't really know. And so I would test it. Yeah. I would say, well, what if it meant this? And you go, well, that don't really make no sense. And I would go, let me see, how can I revise that? So I'll tell you a story, because I got so much to say. I'm so excited.
I know. We've said so much, and I'm just like, okay, let me reel it in.
You're going to have to reel me in.
I'm a reel it in.
So excited.
So let's talk about Project Move, because Project Move, I feel like, is the genesis of what's happening right now. So talk to me about Project Move. How did that come in place?
So Project Move was, I'm going to say, the accidental on purpose thing. Does that make sense? Does anybody have an accidental, but it was kind of on purpose?
In my world, it does.
Okay, so I'm going to explain it to the people who maybe don't get accidental on purpose. Accidental means that someone says, you'd be good at this. And then you go, I don't even know what this is. And they go, but I see this in you. And then you say, all right, I'll try it. So I tried it. And I had support from, you know, friends and family, and I was like, we trying this, we going on out there, we gonna get it done. We don't know what we doing, but we gonna get it done. We gonna do a yard sale. We're gonna throw it all away. We're gonna, you know, all the things. Like, we did not know what we were doing. We were just out there doing it, but we did it with compassion and love. And so that at least when we came into the space, that was the energy that we brought, that people didn't feel like we brought chaos, because we were kind of chaotic, but they didn't know about the chaos that we didn't know what we were doing. Yeah. Because we came in to provide them a level of calm. Yeah. And so we just kept doing it. We kept trying different things.
And what's the it?
The it was that we knew that people have a lot of stuff and they don't know what to do with their stuff. That's the it. The it is the stuff. That you have stuff, you have emotional stuff, you have family stuff, you have stuff. Yeah. And they didn't know what to do with it. But they knew that they had to get to their next place. Yeah. So everything came back down to moving. Because when I first started, I was like an organizer girl. I was going to do everything. You want a closet done? Okay, call me. You want to do this? Call me. Call me for everything. Yeah. And then I realized I can't be everything to everybody. Now that is a ministry in of itself. When you decide and you realize that God did not call you to be everything to everybody.
I did not sign up for a therapy session today. I did not.
Well, you said that you don't pay for it anyway, so you get it for free.
Yes, I do.
So like, because God didn't call us to minister, to be the minister of ministers. Right. And you know, like some of the people that I work with, I would always say, you can't be everything to everybody. And I would say, if God has told me that you just got to come work with me so you can't do all this other nonsense. And she would laugh. She would laugh, and then she would be like, all right, I'm coming because you pay me. And all these other things are volunteer. Yeah. And so then it was a ministry to understand that the people that work for me, I needed to pay them a living wage. You know, like I needed to be responsible to say, yeah, you know, minimum wage is this, but what I'm asking you to do is to be in people's homes, handle their private things, to be compassionate. I'm not asking you for minimum wage skills, so I don't want to pay you minimum wage. And so then we learned through it, and it was just, you know, like, am I an organizer? Yes. Am I a move manager? Yes. But then I realized there was a gap. Yeah. There's something else in that conversation, that how is it that some people can do it and it doesn't matter, and other people just need to have a little bit of additional support. And so then I started looking at patterns. So one of the things that people don't know is that, you know, like when William and Mary, like, you know, 100 years ago when I was like in my like teens, that was a lot of years ago. And my undergraduate degree is in sociology. And so this book reminded me why I loved sociology. because it's the study of society. It's the study of patterns. It's the study of how we do what we do. Yeah. And so then I was like, moving is one of those things that we do. And can I tell you, did I know I was writing this book like 2 years ago, 3 years ago? No. Did I know what the data that I was collecting, what that looked like? No. But one of the things that I know is that when you are in alignment, doing what you're supposed to be doing the ministry, that the outcomes will come. And so if you would have asked me, could I have written this book? Like, okay, I am proud of this book. Like, I love this book. Like, I read this book and I still get insights for myself. Yeah. And I got to do everything that I love in this book. I got to write poetry. Girl, I put poetry in a moving book. And so when some people are like, are you kidding me? You really wrote poetry in a moving book? I sure did. And then I got to incorporate Kwanzaa, because I love Kwanzaa, and I think Kwanzaa, the principles are important, and I think that they are grounding. It's a grounding ritual. Kwanzaa, that's what it is for me. And so I was like, I can incorporate that in there to show people that you can incorporate your life and traditions into some of the things with, like, moving ain't sexy. But it is kind of when I talk about it. See how I said that? Moving ain't sexy, but it is when I talk about it. I am in such rare form, just to let you know.
Can you tell? Listen. But no, Jevata, like, seriously, this book blew my mind. Honestly. Really? Okay, and I don't want to say like, oh, I didn't expect greatness from you.
I don't receive it like that, so you don't even have to explain it like that.
It was... What it did to me, I was like, I don't know if that was the intention, right? And that's going to be my first question. And I wrote my thoughts down because I was like, okay, I don't want to miss anything in this conversation. So I wrote my thoughts down. So the title, Moving in Place, suggests a focus on internal shifts as much as external move.
Yes.
How do you define moving in place, and why was it essential for you to frame the process as a journey of becoming?
Okay, so moving in place, I've had this title for years. Yeah. So moving in place, like moving because I'm a move manager, so moving had to be in the title. In is because it's all like the messy middle. Like, like if you have read anything by Ayanna Van Zandt, her biggest thing is like in the meantime. Yeah. Like what happens in the meantime. And moving is really a lot of in the meantime. Yeah. And then place is just really like, it can be identity, it can be location. And so when you put those things together, I kept saying, I'm moving in place. I'm moving myself. I'm moving my things. Like everything started to fit in there. Yeah. So once I realized that I had the title, and in the epilogue in the book, once you get the book, you'll see how I wrestled with the title. Like titles are hard. Yeah. But one of the ladies at the hair salon, she said, I wouldn't know this is a book about moving. Like she said, I don't really get it. So I was like, well, maybe a tagline will help. And so that's how we got More Than Boxes. Moving is about you, not just your stuff. Yeah. And so that tagline had it. But then we can go through this whole cover and how I wrestled with what that looks like, because frankly, I wasn't going to be on the cover.
I know.
Because I'm going to tell you, like, right now, what you see right now was not what was going on when that cover was happening. Mm-hmm. And that's why I want to tell people that your movement can be fast, but you can go through all of these different things to understand. Yeah. Because I was like, well, they gonna see that I might need to lose a little weight, or they might not think I'm pretty enough, or they might think I'm too dark, or they might think they don't like my natural hair. And I went through all of these things, and so that's hard.
What was your process in moving those thoughts out of the way?
So I decided, because remember I told you I've been testing this method, so I decided to use my own method, because if it worked for me, and I'm a hard sell. If it can work for me, it can work for you. Yeah. So let me just walk you through the moving method, which is really, really cool. Right. I think it's cool. You're going to think it's cool too. And I don't know if you've ever done this before, where you've taken your name and you, like, every letter, it means something. Have you ever done that?
I tried that when I was younger. It was hard.
It's kind of hard, but you know, like, you can do it. So like if I were to do Jevata, I would say, like, you know, like I used to think the only J word was justice, but I'm over that now.
What about joy?
Well, obviously I wasn't there. So I wasn't thinking that Jevata brought joy.
What joy? You weren't in a joyful place.
I wasn't in
joy
a joy.
Come to your mind.
Joy was not like, I wasn't like, ooh, I could use joy. That was so justice was the word. And then you have an E and you go like ethereal, which you know, like you just kind of come up with words. And then you kind of say, does ethereal describe me? And then you go, but V was vivacious. Yeah, that was my V. V was vivacious. A was ambitious. That doesn't surprise you. Yeah. T, talented. A, authoritative, because you know I like to be in charge. Yeah. But joy did not come, which is so interesting. Okay. I was
talk about that. We're gonna put a pin in that.
I was gonna say we're gonna journal about that. But I'm gonna tell you what we're actually gonna do, because it's a new tool that I'm working on, and most people don't know it yet. But I'm gonna say we're gonna put it in the vault. And let me explain to you what a vault is. A vault is not, it's kind of like where you release the things that go in your head, and you kind of like, you put it over to the side. It's important, but it's not a priority. So, and I think that we should all have like a ton of ideas over there. So that's where our dreams are. That's where our things that we think we might want to do. And then you spend like 5 minutes kind of fleshing it out, answering a couple questions about it, and go, okay. Because, you know, I'll go, well, why didn't I think of joy? That's kind of weird. But let's go back to moving as we put a pin in that. Yeah. I got a lot to say. I'm so sorry. I got so much to say.
You're good. The moving method. Explain to them, what is the moving method?
So the moving method is like you take each of the letters in moving, and you identify how you want to have a conversation. So this was how I was having conversations with clients. So I would start with what's motivating you. Yeah. The M is motivating. And so I'm just going to tell you how it evolved in the book. And so then one of my girlfriends was like, well, you can't get motivated if you don't got the right mindset. I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. So then I was like, okay, so I'm gonna understand your mindset so that I can understand your motivations, because then you have to make space. Because if you don't make any space, none of this stuff matters. Right. And then I went to O, and I was like, you have organization, you have order, and oh my gosh, what's the other O? It'll come back to me. But I want to tell the biggest distinction is because people think order and organization are the same thing. But one is about structure and one is about pretty. And so I think you need both. Yeah. So, gosh, what's the other? Oh, I'm gonna have to look it up right quick. Oh, the great thing about this book, which you will love, I love, is that I gave you a ton of charts and tools throughout the book. And how about I can forget what it stands for too? That's so funny. Okay, I paused because it stands for ownership. Yeah, that's a big O. That's a big O. How did I forget that myself? But it's like owning your space and understanding what that, I guess it was implied. Just pretend like I implied it. Yeah. And the V is visions, values, so that it can give you your voice. Because a lot of times we have visions and values, but we don't use it in our voice. We don't communicate it to people. We don't tell people that this is what's important to us. Yeah. And that's very important. And then I have I, which is intuition, insight, and involvement. It's like, who is on your team? Like, because if you don't know who's on your team, then that vision, value, voice stuff don't matter. Like, who are you telling it to? The N is for now, next, and navigation. And the reason it's now, next, navigation is because sometimes you're sitting right here. Like, you're sitting in the middle of your space and you feel like, Jevata, I can't figure this out. And I say, well, all we're trying to do is the next right step. Not the whole thing. And navigation means that all we're doing is just charting a path. Yeah. And I will tell you that navigation is one of my weaknesses, but also one of my superpowers. So once I get a plan, which is why I tell you to write a plan, I can navigate you out of anything. But without a plan, I'm gonna need that GPS. Yeah. That's what your new plan is. And the G is grace, grounding, and growth, because we need to be growing, and I need to remember to be grounded. Yeah. And I got to give myself grace, because moving is hard.
Let's talk about the grace.
Yes.
Let's talk about the grace piece.
Yes.
So when you're doing estate planning, and there are people that have like traditions and legacies and stuff that's been passed on from generation to generation. Yes. And that's usually the hardest thing for people to let go of. I know I have a problem letting go of little basic stuff from when I was like in high school or whatever. We're not going there. Leave it alone. Okay, but I can imagine something from grandma, great grandma, you know, like all of those things, and they're just piling up. And now you're getting rid of your home, or you're downsizing, and now you have all these things. And how do you help someone transition and remove the emotion? Well, not really remove the emotional connection, but navigate the emotional connection to the thing.
So the first thing that I like to understand is like, what are their values? Yeah. Like, what is it the thing that, because like a lot of times we're keeping things not because like what you think. Like, you're not keeping grandma's cookbook because you won't cook. You're keeping grandma's cookbook out of guilt. And so if you have to figure out your pieces, the first step is to understand your visions, your values, your voice. Because once you start telling me the things that are important, because I worked with a family, and you know, like, I get great reviews because I'm really good, just to let you know. But just, okay, that's an aside. Anyway, the cool thing is that you get to tell me what's important. Yeah. And I bet I will find more important stuff than you do when you think you go through for what's important. And let me tell you why. Because you told me what you valued. You didn't look at how much I'm going to get, how much it's going to, you know, like, oh, this bracelet must have been $1,000. I'm going to have to keep that. Or, oh, this tree was very expensive because they love trees. Or photos are the other part, which is so interesting because, like, people, and what do you do with pictures? Yeah. That's always a thing. And I explain to people, if you never going to look at these pictures again, ever, I don't know if they should be in your basement. Because I mean, basements flood, basements get problems. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you just throw it away anyway. And so I tell people that there are ways to keep things, but we have to be purposeful with it so that we understand how it incorporates into our lives. And that's where that visions and values comes in. So important. Because once you articulate what you are trying to do and how you're trying to do it, the conversations are so much more straightforward. Yeah. Because then you don't end up with stuff that doesn't align with what you have. So, like, say for example, you're not a baker. And your mom, she was an expert baker. So she had 3 KitchenAids because she had them suckers booming around in the kitchen during the holidays, doing their thing. KitchenAids aren't inexpensive, but you don't cook. And so now you're like, I'm gonna keep these KitchenAids. I'm gonna keep them because they were moms, and she cooked pies and blah 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 and all these other things with it. Now, I'm not gonna say that you can't keep all 3 KitchenAids, but I am gonna ask you where you're gonna put them. Yeah. And I said, now, you've told me that you value minimalism, that you value not having clutter in your house. You value that, you know, like, you want things to be intentional, because see, these are things that you can tell me outside of the space that you're in. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're like, but I'm gonna keep these 3 KitchenAids. And so I said, well, where are they gonna go? And then all of a sudden you now have to reconcile with what you just told me. I didn't tell you not to keep the KitchenAids. Right. And now all of a sudden you're like, well, what can we do with the KitchenAids? And we go, oh, well, you know, oh, look, I just saw an article where they're starting a baking course in a community center. And they were saying, oh, we should sure use some KitchenAids. Would your mom like them to be there? Because now these kids are going to learn how to cook. And matter of fact, you could even share some of your mom's recipes with it. All of a sudden, your values get aligned. Your mom's values get aligned. And so you're making better choices. Yeah. It's not, is it easy work? No. Is it a lot of like, yeah, you got to get to the deeper, you know, that like, ask why, ask why, ask why. You ask a lot of whys, but a lot of questions will get you to a better place, because a lot of times we just start. Yeah. And so when you just start, you don't have any of these conversations. So now everything you touch has to be. Yeah. If that makes sense. So so you're trying to say, okay, now I'm going to deal with books. Okay, now I got to go deal with this paper. Now I got to go what am I going to do with the artwork? Okay, now I got a rug. Now I got this. Now I got that. And so every single day you're trying to make a new decision, as opposed to giving yourself some decision rules. Yeah, I like that. So let me talk to you about what the book did for me. I really want to hear this, so thank you.
When I read the book, okay, because we were talking in between while you were like getting the book together and writing, and we were, going through the dissecting it.
Yes, she was one of my beta readers, and I do appreciate that. So thank you.
And I was like, oh my God, this book is taking on a whole life of its own. But I wasn't really telling you that. I was just letting it play out.
Because I didn't know.
Right, because I kept telling you, like, this is a ministry, but I didn't want to put too much in it.
You know, girl, if you had told me that, I'd be like, this can't be the ministry.
I didn't want to steer it, but I just nudged you there, and I was just like, yeah, it's headed in a direction that you don't even realize. When I read the book, because at the time I wasn't doing anything regarding moving or anything like that. Little did I know that down the line I had to be dealing with my dad selling his house and doing all of that stuff. But I realized that this book impacts you depending on where you are. Where you are in your life and what you're doing, you see the boxes as something different. When I read the book, the boxes represented people. And it was opening up my mind to what do I do with people in my life that I have emotional attachments to that aren't necessarily serving me, or I had some type of a relationship with them and it's distant, but I'm trying to figure out like where do I put them in my life, and the relationships that I just needed to part ways with, but I was having a difficult time navigating it. And I was reading the book and I was like, oh my God, I don't even know if she knows like where this book is taking me right now, but I started to literally compartmentalize and figure out like, okay, I have these boxes that represent people. What am I going to do with it? And how am I going to navigate these boxes in a healthy way where it serves me for where I'm about to go? And I'm still working through the boxes, but the book got me started. And I want to thank you for that, because it's such a necessary thing for me right now in the step where I'm going. Remember the other day I kept saying to you, like, I'm working on something, but I can't say it yet.
Yeah.
That's a part of it, because I realized that I am a person that people will call and they'll want consulting, and which I do as well. But it's a lot of unpaid. It's a lot of unpaid free consulting that's happening, and people need advice and they need counseling and therapy sessions. But the more I pour, it's the more I'm realizing I'm kind of depleting myself a bit, and I'm not really necessarily being poured into. So now it's not saying I can't do that. It's saying, who's in my box of people that pour back into me? Who is in my box of people that serve me as in my ministry? Who are in the box of people that actually are just sucking the life out of me or just using me, right? And who are in the box of just like dead weight, just you're there, but like I don't even know why you're there. So I started to like work through those boxes. I'm at box number 2. I'm not gonna act like I'm all the way at the end. I'm at box number 2 because it's such an emotional type of experience.
It's huge. It's huge. And I'm delighted that you're able to use it this way, because I will tell you that if moving were just a tactical exercise, it would not be a top 3 stressor. It would not. It's sitting up there with death, divorce, and moving. Those are your top 3 stressors. If it were just tactical, it wouldn't be a top 3.
Yeah.
And I get the opportunity to help people navigate these transitions.
Yeah.
Like so if you would just say, who do I think I am? Because I've asked myself that a number of times. And you want me to tell you who I think I am? I'm going to look at you and tell you who I think I am, just because this is like my growth as well.
Yeah.
I am a person that's helped people move. That's what I used to tell people. I said, I help you move. But then I realized that help is such a small word for what I do. I help navigating change, mitigating risk, facilitating contracts, all of those things. are part of what a move is. So when I say I help people move, it is such a small statement of what that really looks like, because moving is life. If you are not moving, you're standing still. I remember a quote that used to say, when people say, oh, I'm not moving, I'm not going anywhere, I would say it doesn't matter if you are or not, everybody else is. So if you're not moving, that still makes you go behind. So like if everyone else around you is moving and doing something, you go, well, I'm good, I'm gonna stand right here. You're not standing still, you're actually moving further behind.
Yeah.
And so I wanted people to understand, so when they think of moving, I want you to think of the activity of transition, shift, developing yourself, being someplace else. In is the time period for which you get to look at yourself and figure out what's going on. It's that messy middle, or it's just the meantime.
Yeah.
And place is identity. It can be location. It's how you define what's going on. So the other thing that this book gave me, it was like, it gave me a new language of how to communicate. And so I'm like so excited about that, because one of the things that I started doing was looking at words as verbs, nouns, and adjectives. Now, if you forgot your grammar rules, don't worry. I'm gonna give them to you. A noun means like a person, place, or thing. Right. So like you're thinking of a move as a person, place, or thing. It's an activity, right? And then if you think of it as a verb, it's an action. It means that you have to put some power behind it. It has to have some type of input, some type of fuel to make it happen. And then when you think of it as an adjective, it describes how you're looking at the world. So I look at the world as the whole world is moving, or that move. Yeah. Or, and then you can look at each one of those words and start doing that. So place, you can look at it as, how is it describing me? Ooh, look at me fighting the mic, hey. So those are just like, as you can take any word like that, you can take box and start doing that. Yeah. You can say box as a person, place, or thing, like that box over there. And then you can say, oh, that's boxy, which means that it kind of, all of a sudden it has an adjective feel to it. And then you can go, that's box, and all of a sudden now it becomes a verb. And so like you can look at all words like that. And the reason I'm saying that with language is that if language can move like that, why wouldn't you be able to move like that? And so that's what I started to do, because when I thought, well, maybe people won't get the title. And then I said, well, if I can get the title, then I'm just, like, so I did a little introduction, because I figured that if people don't get me, sometimes that hurt my feelings at the beginning, but it don't hurt my feelings no more. So I'm just gonna read it to you. Yeah. So the first chapter is the chapter 1, because reading is fun. Did you hear me, kids? Reading is fun. It is. Okay, before anything moves, there's a moment. Not a list, not a label, just a quiet shift in your chest. You're still, but not settled. This isn't about organizing your closet, it's about organizing your courage and making space for the life you're ready to live. See, I read it differently than other people. Moving, a shift that begins before anything is packed. Moving begins with a feeling, a quiet knowing that something no longer fits, a nudge in your chest, a truth you haven't said out loud yet. Even if everything looks the same on the outside, something inside of you has already started to move. Moving is an unraveling, a releasing, a reckoning with who you've been and who you're becoming. It's the moment you realize that clutter isn't just stuff, it's stories. The calendar isn't just busy, it's full of obligations that don't reflect your priorities. The space that isn't just messy, it's misaligned. In the quiet corner of it all, you get that? The part we usually skip, but where transformation takes root. In is where the work happens. It's the pause, the presence. The in means inside yourself. It means within your current life. It means being honest about what's real. Before everything gets rearranged, in is not passive. It's powerful. To move in place is to be with what's uncomfortable long enough to understand it. To sit with the mess without judgment. To choose clarity before motion. Place, the space you shape and the one that shapes you. Place is layered. It's the physical space around you, but also the emotional space within you. Place isn't always about location, it's about alignment. It's not just where you live, it's how you live there. To own your place means to make peace with what's here and to shape it in service of what's next.
I have so many questions just from that. Like I felt like it brought me back to the first time I read that page. So many questions. First, this is so important because I forgot who I was talking to the other day, and we were talking about how can you make room for the new when you're still surrounded by all the things that are like old and outdated. How do you help somebody navigate that? Because again, it's the emotional connection, it's where you are. And again, when you read the book, depending on where you are is what the thing is. It could be a business that no longer serves you, that you now have to pivot and go to something else. So how do you help people to navigate those spaces of you need to make room for new things to happen?
So that's actually the fun part. The fun part is that most people don't dream. Most people don't take the time to say what success would actually look like. Like, so I'm giving you an opportunity when I go and dream. What does success look like? And all of a sudden you start to dream. So all of a sudden you're like, and then I say, well, we can't get there based on what you have here. So what are we willing to let go in order to get there? Because before you never defined it. And if you never defined it, you can't get to it. And you can't see it. And you can't make space for something you've never talked about. Because why would you make space for it?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't exist. It's kind of like one of those things where it's kind of like if you're saying, I'm going to write a book. Now, my writing coach, she will be proud of me, but oh, did she piss me off. Let me tell you why. So I took this whole little literary class. It was pretty cool. It was actually awesome. And, afterwards she was like, Jevata, what's your schedule? Oh, I'm so busy. I ain't got no time, girl. I can't get this done. She told me, she said, you will make space. That's where the make space came from. You will make space for what's important to you. Yeah. And she did not say another word.
Wow. Oh, that just hit me hard.
She said, everything that you think is important, you will make space for. You will make time for it. It will become important. It will become priority. Did I wrestle with this? Yes.
Oh my God, I almost feel like we need to freeze the podcast for a second. No, because there are things that I know I value and I want to do, but then there are other things that show up as like a deeper priority because, life be lifing. And you have bills and responsibilities, but you want to make space for these things because they serve you so well, they pour into you so well. So is she saying if you're not making space for it, it's not necessarily like something like you prioritize? Like
I am okay. So what happened was she said that, and for a month, all I could do was be mad at her. That was what I was making space for. All I could do was be mad at her and ask myself, who did she think she was talking to? Who? I'm Jevata. Why would somebody talk to me like that? Who does she think she is?
Yeah.
And let me tell you who she thought she was. She was confident in her ability, and she knew what was required in order for me to accomplish my goal. Yeah. So when I go into people's houses, they already know I know how to move. Like, I know how to get you done.
Yeah.
So I don't have to sugarcoat it. I don't have to tell you, oh, if you're real cool and you're real nice and you do this, I know how to do it. I'm good at my job.
Yeah.
So if someone is telling you that this is what you need to do, and you're telling them, I know you're good at your job, girl, but you ain't talking to me. Mad for a month. And I kept thinking, she don't understand. I got a whole business to run. I'm married. I got friends. I got this. I got that. And then at the end of the day, I came right back to it. And she was right.
Yeah.
It's that simple. So like if you're motivated, your mindset's right, and you make space, you got that step.
You got that step. Okay. Let's talk now about
So I want to tell people that I do not fancy myself as a life coach. I did not sign up to be a life coach. I instead want to be able to provide you tools so that you can move forward. So it's not a like, oh, if the sky is green, then you can do this. If the sky is pink, then do this. Instead, I say, look at what you're doing and have tactical steps to actually happen. Now, I have also been told that is actually what a successful life coach looks like. But I am choosing to call myself a transition specialist.
I love that. All right, transition specialist. Well, she is transitioning, so help her out. Okay, but help everyone out. So let's talk about the clutter and what the clutter represents. Like when you walk in and you see someone living in a space that is cluttered. However, externally you may know them and you see that they're out moving and shaking it. You would never believe that they're living in that level of a clutter. How do you help them to kind of like get centered and realizing like your space isn't reflective of the life that you want to live?
So first of all, the first thing I do is I tell them thank you for allowing me to come into your inner space.
Yeah.
So that they can understand that this is not judgment.
Yeah.
This is not this is not the worst I've seen. I'm sure it's not the worst I've seen. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
The first thing is to let you know that I am trustworthy of what is actually happening, so that we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's a remnant of you don't know where to take the first step. So like when I look at like people who love clothes, it could be a remnant of they only had secondhand clothes when they were a kid. And so they made a decision that when they got the money, they was gonna wear brand new clothes all the time. And this can be old, young, middle, it doesn't matter the age. It could be a case of you are attempting to cover something else up. But again, it's the first thing is the trust. Can you trust me with your space? And that means that you're going to trust me. Because I tell people that I'm going to see everything about them. Like if you're trying to hide something, I'm probably going to be the one that sees it.
Yeah.
And they have to first have that trust. That's very important. The second piece is that they have to decide what's important to them. So we're going to go right back to values.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have to tell me why the space needs to be, like what are we trying to get to? Because the challenge is that if we don't understand that, then none of this stuff matters.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go right back to where it was. So it's a question of, are we doing this because you want to have a writing space? So some of the posts that you may see me on social media with, if you wanted to follow me, it would be Project Move _curator. She just hates me. She loves me. She just loves me. But one of the things that I tell people is that if you don't have vision of what that space is supposed to be, it's not going to matter. You're going to always come back. You always will go back to center. Like even the laws of gravity, the laws of whatever that law is. Science. I didn't say I was a scientist. I was a social scientist.
Yeah.
Whatever that law is that says that everything goes back to center, that's what's going to happen to your space. So like even if I've seen people design beautiful closets. It lasts 3 months. Yeah. You're going to go right back to center if you don't understand why you're doing that. So for example, like when I love stuff. Just go back to life. I love stuff. If it were me, I have more stuff. My husband says have less stuff. And so we're working through that as a team. and so the idea is I love your stuff just as much as you love your stuff. Yeah. So as we are talking and having conversations, the cool thing is that I recognize, game recognizes game. Yeah. Stuff lovers recognize stuff lovers. So like I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna see cool stuff too. I'm gonna touch it, feel it, take it home. My husband's gonna be like, nope. He don't love stuff like I love stuff. And so we can have that conversation. And so I can start to say, well, what is it that you want the space to be? Tell me how you want to live, because then that's how we start to design it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a question. Okay, from the book. Chapter 9.
Oh my.
It's titled, this was when I tell you this chapter, girl, Lonely Boxes. And Finding Your Circle. This chapter was, how do you help clients build or lean on the necessary support system for a major life transition?
It's so interesting how all of these things, they just so interconnect.
Yeah.
And so when people feel like they can do all things by themselves, and that's just so not true. And so a lot of it is like identifying where there's a particular need.
Yeah.
So it could be, oh, I need to hire a moving company. Oh, John, my friend over here had a moving company. I'm going to use him. But John didn't tell you that he hated them.
Yeah.
So then now John hates you because he gave you that reference. So all of the things of just understanding like who in your family is going to be support. You know, like, you remember when we were in our 20s and people used to say, I'll help you move if you get beer and pizza?
Yeah.
Those days are over. Those are gone. And even if they're not gone, do you really want your friends to be trying to move a sofa for beer and pizza? You know, like,
I needed some beer and pizza friends recently. Like, I didn't have the beer and pizza friends. Like, we had to come up with the cash.
Yeah.
But I wish I had some beer and pizza friends. It was tough. But no, that chapter really came to life for me recently because I told you, like, I was helping my dad. Mm-hmm. He wants to retire and move to Jamaica, and he's selling his house. And, you know, I'm one of those people, like, I'm always on the go. So when I go to his house, like, I'm in the living room. Like, I'm in that space. I don't really go any further. Of course, now we're going in the house and we're going deep in the weeds of the house, and I'm seeing all of these things and the stuff and all. And I didn't have a family circle of support to help me to navigate. I had to call on my friends. I had to call on you to come and walk me through the space. And you even walking me through the space was so therapeutic for me because it was me understanding, like, this is what this actually is, Andrew. This is what needs to be done. You need to work through this right now. You're not even at the space where this can go on the market yet. You're at the space where you need to navigate this space before you even release it. And I realized, like, wow, I did not have the familiar circle that I needed, but I did have a circle of friends that I could pull on and say, hey, help me navigate this. And that's why I was like, that chapter was so important, because I think when we're going through that space and it's so challenging, you don't know who to call on, and who you think you can call on, you can't necessarily.
Yeah, and the other part is that you have to remember that, you know, like, when someone calls me and says I'm moving and they call me for help, they are really asking for a lifeline.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And I recognize that. And that's perfectly fine. And I know, you know, like, I just read a LinkedIn post and they were just like, you have to understand, like, where your professional stops versus, like, somebody calling, hey girl, can I just, like, can I get your brain and everything? And so I recognize that what I'm doing with moving is that all of my friends should call me, but they don't. And why you should call me is because even if I'm not going to be the one you choose, I should be able to give you insight on what and why you should choose. So, for example, when you called your realtor and I was sitting in the room and I said, hey, it's Jevata here's with you. And she goes, oh, good.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you realize I think you knew what you had.
Yeah.
But in that moment, all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is what I had. So that's why it's, like, important to know your circle. Know that people like me, or people like us, people like Jevata, we'll say it like that, that we even exist.
Yeah.
That there is a lifeline for hope. And I'm not saying that not everybody can afford the services that I offer. I understand that. However, I tried to make this affordable. Yeah. So that I could put it in a book to kind of say, these are tools that you should have so that you can have that conversation.
And I think that's the important part, right? Because, again, for the people that can't afford a Jevata, right? What? To still have but to still have this tool, because, again, I feel like with this tool, I'm ready for my next move. I'm still gonna call Jevata, but the mental the mental piece of it, which is the part that I feel like I would have to navigate, because every time I moved with my stuff. Meaning, like, all the boxes and things that I know I needed to throw away, and I knew I did not get rid of it. I moved with it. And as you move with it, you're just compiling, you're just bringing more stuff with you. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how did I get here? Like, why do I still have stuff from my apartment in New York? Like,
well, I mean, it's so easy because, like, I will tell you that even I used this analogy before, and people were like, "What does that mean?" Like when I say the cobbler has no shoes, and or the hairdresser's hair is not done, like type thing. Yeah. One of the things is that I'm not perfect. Like I don't profess to say that I have all of this stuff. Like I got it all under control, because remember, I love stuff as much as you love stuff. And one of the things is that as you are navigating this, as you're talking about it, as you're getting through it, it's just a journey. Like we're all on this like movement journey, and the whole thing is that you can't take it with you. Yeah. And so the question is, things that are around you, that we gotta love them. They gotta be important. Like today we're recording on a Thursday, so it's Throw It Out Thursday, girl. Okay, yeah, that's the whole thing. Throw It Out Thursday. Yeah. And we're talking about, and so today we talked about boxes. You know those beautiful boxes that you get these little Coach bags in and Coach wristlets, but because they make the box too nice, or maybe your iPhone box because they make the box too nice. Yeah. And when I help people clearing out people's houses, do you know how many of them iPhone boxes be at the house, or how many of those little, they're cute boxes? Nothing's in them. They're empty boxes, but they're all at the house. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't make cute boxes, because the phone does cost a lot, so it should have a nice box to go with it. But I'm just saying that maybe we don't need to keep them. Yeah,
that's true. Listen, I did a major decluttering recently, and I had a lot of those. So a lot of jewelry boxes, and I have a jewelry kit where I put the jewelry, but I have all the boxes that, like, eventually I'm like, I'm gonna put them back in there. No, I'm not. They were just there, and and my friend and I were going through it, just going. She's just like, "No, we're tossing this. Like, we're tossing this. It's going." So that's what I was mentioning when I said, when you have a circle with you that can really help you navigate it. It's so important, because like the circle was helping me. Like, okay, yeah, girl, no, you don't need that. What is that for? So I thought that was very important as well. So your work also promises to help people transform chaos into confidence. Talk to me about that.
Chaos into confidence. Ooh, I got a new tag. I'm gonna tell people I be transforming chaos to confidence. Yes. Well, a lot of it is like, when you think about, like, chaos just means that it doesn't have order. Yeah. Remember, we have the ownership, order, organization. And so chaos is really defining order. And so it's just really about understanding, like, how your stuff is in your space. Yeah. Like, it may look chaotic to me, but you may understand the order behind it. Yeah. That's something my husband will tell me all the time. I understand how this is organized. And you go, okay, that's your jam. That's you. And so from chaos to clutter is really just saying, how am I going to systematically kind of like move forward? Like, because keep in mind, there's no way you can do your whole house in a weekend. No. Anybody who's saying that, don't buy into it. You can't do your whole house in a weekend, but you can do a drawer. You can do a cabinet. And so it's really about finding your rhythm so that you can get there. And then being okay. I remember growing up, my pastor, when I was like in Virginia as young, and he used to say, don't try to clean up your house now that I'm on my way over here if you was comfortable living like that yesterday. And I said, huh. And so the whole point of it is, yes, I can tidy up, but the whole point is, like, I don't have to do all this extra because you're coming over. And so the whole point is, like, I can't, like, don't try to live differently. Yeah. Because it's not sustainable. Yeah. And then you're going to be pissed. And then all the things end up in the closet anyway. That's true. It's not like you did some great work. Like, how much great work can you do in an hour?
That's true. And I think that's one of the things I learned about you, the value of, like, the small wins of, like, I did my drawer, I did my vanity room, I did my closet. And it's working through I did this day, I did this that day. But, like, once I accomplished one small thing, it gave me the confidence to keep going and doing another room in another space. So I think, like, looking at the small wins and starting small and growing from there, I think that was, like, the best strategy, especially for me.
Oh, it works for me too. Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as looking at your china cabinet saying, I don't need 15,000 glasses, I only need 10. And then picking the 10 that you love. Right. And then those 10 become like, they my 10. All right, Ms. Jevata, so
What does the success of this book look like for you?
Wow, that's so exciting. The success of this book. Okay, so I when I was writing the book, I wrote the book saying I'm writing a bestseller because I decided there was no point in writing a book if I wasn't writing a bestseller.
Right.
Now, some people look at me and go, I can't believe you said that. But I do say that. And I tell people that. And I tell you that. Mm-hmm. So as a bestseller, what that means is that I get to, success was me actually writing down my processes. Mm-hmm. That was huge because I'm a girl that, I love a good plan. But you see, the problem is I don't have to write it down in order to execute a plan. But then I also realized, and God is continuing to use me and reminding me that yes, you do. Because I would say, you don't gotta write it down, girl. You got this. And so I would, and then it didn't help the people that I was working with either because they can't read my mind. They would tell me this all the time. I can't read your mind, Jevata. What are we supposed to be doing? And I'm like, don't you understand? And I'm like, no, because some of it, every house is different. Yeah. So we ain't done some of this stuff. Like some of the stuff we ain't never seen. We ain't never know that we had to go in the crawl space under the house, around the corner, through the woods. And, we ain't never done it. And so, if we never done it, and I'm like, okay, but you could just do it this way. And they were like, well, we can't read your mind. This reminded me. So success was reminding me to write it down, to get it out of my head, and to let me know that if I got it out of my head, he'd give me more stuff to think about. And he'd be like, I can make this even bigger. Mm-hmm. Success is having people utilize the moving methods so that they actually are moving. Yeah. That they are feeling successful, that it helps 1, 2, 3, 4 people to not have to live in the situation that's causing them stress. That's not conducive to it. It frees up brain space. Because now you can do all kinds of cool things that you didn't know you had time for. Yeah. Because you freed up the mental energy. Yeah. Your creativity grows. Mm-hmm. Like I am. So if I think back to when I interviewed with you the last time, I look at how I sat. I sit differently. Yeah. I present myself differently. Yeah. And believe it or not, y'all love it. Y'all love it. Y'all love it. Even though you loved me then, you love me now too. And then that's what I was afraid of. Like if I showed up as 100% myself, then maybe you wouldn't love me like that because you'd be like, my star doesn't take anything from your star. Right. And so I gotta be okay with that. Yeah. And my friends love me. Like one thing that I'll read in here that was like, one of my friends told me this is from the epilogue. And, so I read stuff from the book all the time. So it just says, one friend told you you have control of what you show people. Another said you have to be okay being vulnerable. I know you'll wrestle with this. And I wrestle with this probably daily. To say, how am I showing up? Yeah. And so how success is looking in the mirror and saying, okay, I'm showing up. This is me. Look, that's me right there. That's me right there. And I did a whole book and I wrote a framework. Yes. Can you understand the magnitude of writing a framework? That ain't like everybody's work. And I wrote it about a space that people aren't really talking about. Right. So now people can talk about it. Right. And they're gonna talk about it. And it's gonna be fun and it's gonna be exciting. And I get to show up as all of me. So let me tell you something. You are a bestseller. You know why? No one has done this before. No one has done moving the way you did it. No one has done it in a way where you've opened people's eyes to looking at the mental health of it all, looking at moving through different perspectives. Like I said, you had me looking at boxes in a completely different way, right? So if this is the only book that exists in that way, you are a bestseller, even if you sold one. But I'm so proud of you, Jevata, because you moved it out of here and placed it here, and it is a tool for so many of us to use. It's a tool that I can pull on when I'm having my moments of trying to navigate a transition. It is a tool that I can pull on right now as I'm navigating the move with my dad. And just in general, the space
that I'm in right now, this has been such a great tool for me to work through it, to be ready for my becoming, right? I see you becoming, right? And I say becoming with the ing because you are so creative. You're gonna call me in the next 2 weeks because you moved this out the way. So now there's more space and you're gonna call me with another idea. And I'm gonna say, okay, let's do it. So I am just super proud.
So I will let you know that we are working on a workbook to go along with this.
See?
It's actually almost done.
It's almost done. The workbook, guys. There's a workbook on its way, and we are launching. Well, this is already launched.
Yeah.
But let's be real. The book is already launched. It is doing well. You're getting amazing feedback from it.
Yes.
I mean, the people that are reading the book are people.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm talking about people from all walks of life.
Yes.
And you are getting amazing feedback from this book.
Yes.
Sis, thank you.
Thank
Tell
you.
the people where they can find this book.
Okay, so this is what my next goal is that, you know, I really want to be an Amazon bestseller. You know, so I can add that little thing right there on the book that says Amazon bestseller. So I'm going to ask you to go pick it up on Amazon so that I can like move up in the ranks. So I think right now it said I was like 16.
Okay.
But I don't really know. But that's the number I said in my head, 16. So like if we could just move up from there.
Yeah, we will. So go on Amazon and get this amazing book, Moving in Place. More than boxes, moving is about you, not just the stuff. And I'm telling you that little part right there, the moving is about you part. Ooh, sis. That should be like the part 2. The part 2 of this book is moving is about you. Okay,
well, you know, like then I was like, well, maybe I should go. The next one should be called Moving in Self. See, I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's just a whole lot out there. It's available.
I'm just saying.
But I'm just saying that once you make space, then the creativity can continue.
A year ago, I said it's a ministry. It is a ministry. Okay, I can say it now, and she won't kill me. This is an amazing ministry, sis. Thank you. Like this, like I said, this is so unique and different. And we need this.
I'm on the Instagram, like I have, you know, like this business one, which is a Project Move _curator, but I have a personal one too, which is, you know, my name, Jevata Crawford. Right. So like you can find that too. You can run either one of them up.
Yes.
You know, because I fancy myself a rapper too.
She's a rapper. She makes candles. She's a Kwanzaa queen. She's all things through Christ who strengthens her. Okay.
And Dree, thank you for having me. I have enjoyed this conversation, and this was the right time, the right moment, the right space. And again, I want to just say thank you to the Art House Allentown for allowing us to be in this beautiful space, and also for this just cool picture that I just keep looking at. Did I tell you I love abstract art? Abstract art is that's my jam. And let me tell you why I love abstract art, and then I guess you can wrap it up because you have a little wrap up part. The reason I like abstract art is because you get to look at it and you get to see what you need to see. And whereas like if it's like flowers, then sometimes all you can see is the flowers.
That's the flowers.
So here you can look at this and you can sometimes say, well, maybe this is us dancing.
Yeah.
And then
you know what I see?
What do you see?
I see a puzzle piece that's trying to find its way in there.
And so see, that's why abstract art is so awesome. So I'm just gonna tell you the Art House is an amazing space. Yes. And we are so grateful that we're here, and you just never know what you're gonna see on the walls. So come check it out.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, guys, this is Miss Jevata Crawford. Please go and get the book Moving in Place. I am Andrea Nicole. Thank you so much for tuning into the Truth Couch. We're on this platform, the